What do we have to build upon here? We've got some great stuff. We've got, again, in the core of our metro area, we've got a tremendous history and heritage that's here. We've had retail that's been on the resurgence. This is a shot of the area which is now called Soma, south of Maine, and those retailers are doing a fantastic job. We've done a great job of not only activating the streets, but also bringing attention to the importance of alleys as pedestrian thoroughfares. These alleys were built 100 years ago, many of them with train tracks to support bringing inventory to the back of the buildings that faced Broadway. And today, the need for a building that's 140 feet deep, the front half being retail, the back half being inventory, no longer exists, because with the invention of national distribution systems like FedEx and UPS, any retailer can support their business generally with a 60-foot or 75-foot depth at the maximum, which is why virtually every strip mall in America that's being built is about 60 or 75 feet deep. The economics of these deeper, longer buildings improve when we've got pedestrians on the alley, and you can have alley-facing businesses on the backside, as we do in Loretta. And again, we have an opportunity through boutique retailers that, again, create something that's distinctive, that's not a franchise model. We have a number of those flourishing in downtown. We got a big opportunity right now to enliven our connection with the riverfront. The city, I think, is approaching this in a smart way with the flood dollars that are available through the sales tax that those that are residents of Fargo helped all pass, which is, again, this is separate from the diversion. There's existing sales tax dollars now. There's a project that's going to happen on 2nd Street. And as citizens, we should all be active and involved and even vocal about doing a design that matches and supports what the City Hall selection team this morning concluded, which is that they want to make sure that they maintain or expand the amount of green space that we have down there while tightening up that connection with the riverfront. We also, again, talk about downtowns. Downtowns aren't just for college kids, and they aren't just for retirees. There's an opportunity to invite and engage families, as recently happened here on the Chalk Fest that occurred outside the Great Northern Bicycle Company. We have an opportunity to continue to invigorate downtown living with great indoor as well as outdoor spaces. This is a picture that ended up in Wall Street Journal, taken from a top of Sky Barn, which is a unit that we have on top of 300 Broadway, adjacent to where we are right now. And as Jim mentioned, again, there's a lot of programming that's going on where we can inspire and create community on things like TEDx and Alley Fair and other things that allow us to continue to engage the community. Of course, Broadway is the metro area's is sort of a front yard or front street. It's the place that we go to, not just for ESPN, but for parades and celebrations throughout the year. And it's fantastic that we've got this center point where we can all come together as a community and meet. And all of that enriches our quality of life. But there's other elements that we have that are going for us in a very strong way. One is the deep connection through the arts. We're very fortunate that some of the earliest people to come and do renovations in downtown were people like the Plains Art Museum, the Fargo Theater that we're sitting in right now. There's been a recent renovation expansion at the stage at Island Park, and then private purveyors like Etche and other art galleries downtown, again, really driving an art scene which adds to that fabric. And of course, I think everybody knows, if you're interested in all kinds of dining and you can't decide where you want to eat, the place you want to go is downtown, because there's so many choices down here. If you want to eat, drink, and be merry, 53 different establishments of all sizes and price points. Again, and that is a number that food culture can continue to grow. And then shopping. What a resurgence we've seen here in the last decade, going from pioneers like Zambro's 10 years ago to now 71 retailers. And this is the more the merrier. The more the retailers are down here, the more diverse, the more unique, the more people see this downtown as a shopping destination and a place to spend their time. In addition to shopping and eating, with the involvement of the universities and other organizations, this is a stimulating place to not only to live and work and play, but also to learn. And there's all kinds of different ways that you're able to participate in that in downtown Fargo, which is fantastic. And the result of all that, again, is we're riding this national trend in a very nice way, which is, downtown Fargo is growing from 2,000, just over 2,000 people in 2000 to 3,500 in 2010. But in the last 3 years, almost another 1,000 people have come into downtown Fargo. So this is fantastic. And we talk about all the growth that's going on out in the Baca in the western part of the state, which is fantastic. But I do want people to know that if you're living in downtown Fargo, that now with this number that you've passed, we've all passed Grafton as the 14th largest city in the state, downtown Fargo. We're moving up the leaderboard. So we have a great downtown, but there's more to be done. And as I said, the best cities win, and best cities win because they attract talent. And the way you attract talent, both at the college level to come here for college, and the way you attract professionals to move here, is that you've got a undeniably unique, economically strong, and highly effective, community. And so I'm just going to throw out there some of the things that the Kilbourne Group has a point of view that need to be done to help make downtown even better. One of the first things on the list is upgrading the infrastructure. The electrical grid in downtown Fargo is among the oldest in any part of the metro area. And so not only is it unsightly, it doesn't have the redundance and the other capability that would support people putting serious businesses down here like big software companies because you want to make sure that we've got clean, reliable, and dependable power. And so that's the thing. There's a big opportunity. The Downtown Community Partnership, Excel Energy, and others are working in a collaborative way to time an upgrade of infrastructure down here with the work that's going on by the city to improve and replace a number of the streets downtown. So this is a project which we'll see progress on in the next few years, but I want to keep it top of mind because it's easy to forget about how important this is. But the other thing is when you remove all this, it makes the alleys cleaner and friendly and allows the alleys to be more of a pedestrian thoroughfare and walkway, which opens up the opportunity for more alley-facing businesses and retailers and restaurants and others. And so all these ideas work synergistically. Bike share, again, big trend globally, less so in the United States. Leading community in the U.S. is Portland in terms of getting people to shift their commutes from bike or from cars to bikes or from bike to foot. And one of the things we always talk about is the challenge of parking. And sometimes you talk about, hey, there's not even a good place to lock your bike up down here. Well, one of the great concepts that's been invented, again, it's a long old idea, collaborative consumption, which is I'm only going to pay for the thing when I use it for a little bit of a time. That would be like getting in a cab in New York City versus renting a car when you go to New York City. You're just sharing the cost of that cab with other people that are using it in the system. But these bike share systems have been taking off, and Fargo is in a position where we could be one of the first of a community our size to get this. The student leadership at NDSU has been taking the charge. They figured out a way that all 14,000 students at NDSU could have access through a swipe card, through their activity card. We would like to get MSUM and Concordia involved, get some businesses to support. This is an idea that's $350,000 sponsorship dollars away, and you'll see these stations lined up across the city, and someone would have an opportunity for an advertising opportunity on the bikes. And then you swipe your card, you ride your bike, you plug it in at the next stop and whatever, and think about how that would interconnect downtown and the three campuses that we have that are sort of equidistant from downtown, could be really terrific. And again, reduces pressure on parking, and when people are riding a bike versus driving their car, they save money by doing that, and they're healthier, and there's, the whole economic system benefits when we use our own power to get ourselves around versus using any kind of other energy. The other thing which is essential to us, which hasn't been high enough on the agenda, is unleashing the economic power behind true high-speed internet. And I'm not talking about, oh, hey, we can get you from, 2 megs or 5 megs to 100 meg, and 100 meg is high speed. When we talk about a high-speed internet in this context, we're talking about trying to be a gig. There's only about 20 cities in America that are on the front edge of this that are driving towards being 1 gigabyte cities. And again, with the economy that we have, the brain power we have, the companies that we have located here, this is just a function of will and decision making for us to be on the front of this trend versus on the back of this trend. And there's examples where Google went into a neighborhood in Kansas City. They brought in the gigabyte fiber, and of course, what happened? It was a residential neighborhood. In that residential neighborhood, you always get unintended consequences when you do this stuff. The homes started get bought by groups of entrepreneurs who started living in them 7, 8 at a time so they could have access to high-speed internet, starting companies. And guess what? Housing prices shot up in the neighborhood. again, unintended consequences. So again, if we want to be one of the leading cities in the world, which we have an opportunity to do, one of the things is it's not about the interstate. I mean, this city is here because of technology. We're here because a railroad engineer decided this was the highest place to build the bridge. The banks and the Moorhead and the Fargo side were the best place to build a bridge. So that's why we're here and not sitting at Georgetown or south of town, because this was the place that was, turns out that extra margin has been very helpful when we've been fighting floods in 97 and 09 and 010 and 011. But, so they picked the best spot we can to defend ourselves. We're not at the confluence of two rivers like Wahpeton and Grand Forks is, a little bit more defendable. But we're here because of technology, and Interstate Highway came through here because they followed the railroads. But now we got high-speed internet, and this can go anywhere. You can leapfrog and get ahead of other companies. Other cities. We don't have to wait for other people. We can just demand it and figure out a way to do it. So we did start an initiative about 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago at Senator Hoeven's technology conference called the Dakota Fiber Initiative. We had our first meeting. 75 customers and providers all got together in a room. We're having a follow-on meeting tomorrow morning with the providers, where we'll talk about everything other than price, because we don't want to run afoul of any collaboration rules. But we do need to figure out collectively how to get this done for our community. And then I would say just watch what happens when that happens. I was talking to some folks in Lincoln, Nebraska last week, and they not even gig, they put in 100 megabyte into some apartment buildings, and now the people that live in the apartment buildings don't want to go to work. They want to work from home all the time because of they can get their work done faster. So this is a big economic thing. The universities, again, we've got President Brashani here and probably others from NDSU, but what a gift to our community that NDSU had the foresight to move towards the core as opposed to moving towards the edge. What a gift that they're holding homecoming downtown. What a gift that we've got ESPN downtown. I mean, the university impact on our community, I believe, is largely underestimated and unappreciated in some ways. I think we cheer for the win on the field, but people need to understand the impact on the pocketbook that having all these students in our community, the businesses they're starting, the interaction they have, and it can be even more. And NDSU is not done. NDSU will continue to grow as an institution, and that growth can be, if supported the right way, could grow towards the core as opposed to grow towards the edge, and that would be, again, fantastic. But I view that NDSU is one of the anchor tenants, and one of the reasons we've had the big turnaround. We have other anchor tenants in downtown. Healthcare is a big anchor tenant. Sanford is a big, big employer, the largest employer of people in downtown. Sanford's the largest employer of people in the state of North Dakota and the state of South Dakota. And we've got great healthcare options with Sanford and Essentia, but with Sanford's move more to the edge, a $450 million new hospital, which is going to drive all kinds of positive economic benefits. We just have to make sure that everyone understands there's lots of non-clinical stuff that Sanford does. They're in 14 different buildings downtown. And so again, as a citizen, we like to keep asking of Sanford, hey, what can we do to have you retain as much as you can beyond the expansion of the Roger Maris Cancer Center? What can we do to make it attractive for Sanford to remain a big anchor tenant in downtown? And then on the other front, family health care, again, fabulous project, $15 million creatively put together through a combination of sources, saving 4 historic buildings and providing services to those most in need among us, delivering services last year to over 11,000 individuals. Close to 1,000 of those would fall in the category of homeless, and they're providing certified medical language translation for close to 20 different languages right now. And so what an amazing, unique service that they're providing that, again, really helps the fabric of our community. So healthcare, anchor tenant in downtown. Government, anchor tenant in downtown. We've got, public library, city hall, civic center. We've got, the head of the government for the Cass County downtown. We've got the federal building and its expansion. We have all these things. And so again, how exciting to see that after months of study, that a citizen committee concluded that the best place for City Hall to be built was downtown, because we want to make sure that there have been some cities in America where the core of downtown has been hollowed out by their own government moving to the edge. And here we've got some enlightened leadership that again, at the city, the county, and the federal level, that's doing smart things about helping make our core strong. We also need, going forward, we need to attract new businesses, and not just new retailers, But again, how exciting that we had the big move by Bell State Bank. I know Michael Solberg is here, coming into the building at 15 Broadway, bringing more employees downtown. You know, fabulous when we've got a mainstay businesses like that making a commitment, adding to the strong number of financial institutions that are already down here, like Wells Fargo and Bank of the West and Gate City and U.S. Bank and others, but really maintaining this as a financial district for the region. We do need to, you know, continue to expand entertainment options. This is something else we have to do. You know, there's dozens and dozens of lists where Fargo's at the very top. I thought I'd show one where we're not at the top. This is the, you know, top college towns in terms of their ranking, and it shows Fargo at number 12 behind a number of cities, including Lawrence, Kansas, where I had a chance to be a few weeks ago. They got nothing on us. They don't even have a football team on us down there in Lawrence, but they're, but you know, we should be moving up ahead of them just anyway. I mean, just based on that win. But we have an opportunity down here to expand collectively for the 30,000 college students that are in the region to use this as a mecca and keep thinking of ourselves as a college town. Because even Lincoln, Nebraska, which is a fantastic place, the combined MSUM, Concordia, NDSU, you know, puts us at a number of students, you know, that's at or above what University of Nebraska Lincoln is doing. So again, we have to keep dreaming about what we can do. And as we build, we need to think about how do we design walkability, because this is one of the criteria that's emerging as one of the most important economic factors and social factors in city design. And we've got a ways to go here. One thing which was, you know, pointed out to me earlier this year is that Fargo is now, in terms of just Fargo, not Moorhead or West Fargo, Fargo alone has more square miles than San Francisco or Boston. And that may surprise some people, because some people are saying, hey, it's really crowded here. Maybe you're not saying that. But this is Boston on the left, San Francisco, and Fargo on the right. I mean, if anybody's, how many people have been to Boston? A very number of people. And how many people have been to San Francisco? You know, generally when I talk to people, they say, hey, look, these are two historic towns of our country that are among the most enjoyable for tourists to visit. And I think one of the reasons why is because they've got just a high degree of walkability and lots of interesting things happening. So if we never added another square mile to our borders of the city of Fargo and just focused on infill, you know, we would have like 100 years of growth ahead of us before we would catch up with these guys. And so again, the perspective is that we are kind of locked into a mentality that the only good growth is on the edge, and we've been consuming anywhere between, you know, 160 and 320 acres of land a year, moving out towards the edge. And I think some people go, well, that's an unstoppable, some kind of a, you know, unwritten rule that we have to keep expanding that way. And when we expand that way on the edge, as taxpayers, we all get to pay for those streets and the sewer and the water and the police and the fire protection and all the additional infrastructure costs of getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's why we like to talk about the powerful impacts of infill, because anytime you put a business in a place where all those amenities already exist, sewer, water, electricity, fire, police, and other services, curb, gutter, when you put it where it's already there, as taxpayers, we're already paying for that. Anytime that we're building on the edge, we ought to be asking ourselves, why are we doing that versus doing it on the infill? You know, are we doing it on the edge because it's better for us, or it's better for some big box retailer that's, you know, commanding that all these amenities be built for them? So I think we ought to be thoughtful as citizens and understand what it is that we're all really paying for. If a small business with 2 employees came to a commercial realtor and said, we're looking for some space, and how much do you want? And they said, well, we'd like to have 100,000 square feet for the 2 of us because we plan on growing, future growth. The commercial realtor would probably go, I don't think that's so smart. If a single parent, you know, tried to rent a 10,000 square foot house, people might go, you know, that's a little bit too much house for it. I don't think that's going to be really tight on your budget. But somehow in America, across the country, not just here, when cities, you know, get bigger in terms of square miles, you know, then people cheer and go to ribbon cuttings. And we have to really think that a city is no different than a family or a business. You take on a financial burden when you commit to trying to govern and manage and provide services to broader spaces. And sometimes density is a bad word, and I grew up in the rural areas. North Dakota is one of the most rural places in the United States. I understand rural. I've lived in rural. I get all that, and rural is great, but it costs more. It just costs more, and it's not a good or a bad thing. People need to understand that.